Highguard is about to die, and they are blaming you. What a surprise. A retarded game devs blaming the customers for not playing their bad game. Who could have guessed that? Who could have guessed? It's just what they always do. What they all and always do.
Welcome to Highguard.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like many of you who deemed that Highguard was headed for a Concord-like conclusion, you might have been right.
Of
Now,
course.
the story of Highguard is just rather notable because this game never gets any of attention or any sort of spotlight without Jeff Keighley. If it launched, I guarantee it probably would have already shut down by now, or maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe they.
When was this released? 1 day ago. They literally fired a bunch of people. They literally did.
Would have never released it, honestly. Jeff Keighley gave it that final spotlight. He truly believed in the game. This has been confirmed by the developers. They approached him. He really wanted to endorse this game. And for the last couple of weeks before it was released, we did see Jeff Keighley look, 48 hours, I'm going to be accepting your apologies. He had a couple of other tweets highlighting the fact that people were really enjoying the game from a review session, or a preview event, I mean. But look, Highguard did release, and this right here kind of summarizes the feelings that people have about this game, and it is that
No, it's well, kind of, yes, but this is the important thing. Players right now, 1,232. Now we all know why they laid off all those people. This is why.
it's a mixed reception. It's a war zone of opinion. Some people saying that it's really good, a lot of people saying it's really boring, but that mixed reception is just, you need more in a highly competitive industry right now, especially the live service arena. You have to bring something to the table, and Highguard was too samey. It was something that we've seen from this gaming industry, especially with its art design, which, look, the comparisons to games like Paladins, Valorant, Overwatch, they were never going away, and they stuck like butter. And the problem is, a lot of people want to play those games rather than something like Highguard, which is, it's gimmicky. That is what this is. It's
Yes, it tried to take things from all other games, put it together into a game that doesn't look appealing. I mean, just look at it. And it plays kind of okay. I guess I never... Public announcement. I haven't played the game. Because I can't. Doesn't run on my computer. Because of the save start and other shit. So yeah, it doesn't run on my computer. I wanted to play it on release because I wanted to know how bad it is. Well, turns out it is bad. For the majority of people, I mean, they lost over 90% of the player base in less than a month. I mean, that tells you a lot. It tells you a lot. So yeah, the thing they thought people were playing Overwatch just for the gameplay, which is wrong. One major reason why people play the game is because it looks good. What makes it looks good? A lot of the characters are hot. Yeah, said it. The character design is good. And the character design in this game is not. It's not. And you can try as much as you want to go for the realistic looking game as much as you want. That doesn't make your game look good. Overwatch looks better than a lot of realistic looking games. Why? Because they have style. the style of Overwatch looks better than a lot of the realistic looking games. And it's not even hard. Because the realistic looking games, they all look the same. Because they are all looking realistic. And you can only do so much with a realistic looking game. It's very, very simple.
The raid mode. They thought they were inventing a whole new genre. But even when you ignore the user angle...
Yeah, and that's very, very arrogant. Oh, yeah, look at this. It has... Stuff like this has never been done before. And everything they put into the game has been done by other games before. Literally. There's nothing unique about this game at all. Nothing. There's not one single thing. Not one. If you think there is something, let me know in the comments.
And the divisive opinions amongst them. You also have critics which weren't too high on this game either. Like, look at this. Review score average, 63 out of 100. Only 32% of critics recommending the experience. That's just not, that's not good. And it definitely doesn't give the essence that this is going to...
Game in Nexus, 8.5 out of 10. Game Rent, 8 out of 10. Games Radar Plus, 3 out of 5. Yeah, no. No. This is why games journalism is a joke.
To start a whole new genre like this Polygon headline gave out and was being tweeted by people like Jeff Keighley saying, Highguard isn't dead on arrival, and in fact, after 4 hours, I'm convinced it's one of the best new shooters in years. It could be the start of an exhilarating new FPS subgenre. And I'm sure the Wildlight team, they were really hopeful for that. That was their vision, but we need to end this gimmicky one game mode experience. It feels just... Like, everybody saw what happened with the Battle Royale genre years ago, and they think they can just invent a new genre just by having one game mode.
Yes.
Like, look, it has happened a couple times. The extraction shooter genre is kind of the big thing right now. I don't blame these devs for feeling that way, but I think all of the hallmarks of the concerns that people really had, they were there, and they should have seen that from the get-go. But clearly the executives were like, look, the people are going to make comparisons to Concord, but the gameplay is really going to separate itself. But it didn't enough, and it didn't win people over in the way that I think they had hoped. And yeah, Highguard's 2026 first contentious title shows a weak start. And
well, yes. Sorry for that weak picture.
It's 2026.
So, no, this is a little better. So, what he said earlier that, games come out and have only one game mode. Remember back in the day when, Unreal Tournament came out and they had, I don't know, 5, 6 game modes? Imagine if Highguard would have come out. It would have been 5v5 or even more. And they had several game modes. They had the one that it has. They had Capture the Flag. Domination. Team deathmatch could have worked way better than what we had right now. Imagine Arc Raiders. And they put new game modes on the existing maps. Just team deathmatch would work fine. Deathmatch would also work fine. Capture the Flag, guarantee you, could also work. What else? How about Domination? Would work perfectly. And especially if you give... No, you don't even need to give players new things to... new tools to use. They already have the tools, like putting up walls. We have that in the game. We have everything in the game that we need already. For additional game modes to exist that are literally PvP. Literally. You don't have to change the base game mode at all. You just add on top. You don't even need to change the maps. You just have to add game modes. You don't need to invent new ones either. Just invent game modes. You can make put payload or something like that onto at least several maps. Stellar Montes, for example, would work perfectly there. What else? No, I think that's it. Yeah, if MBAC would do that with Arc Raiders, the game might even go further up than it already has been. And you even can reason with it being lore accurate by just having it be training grounds. Yeah, fix the problem for the lore. I think that would work just fine.
First contentious title shows a weak start, and it did. It had 97,000 players on Steam immediately, and that was because it's free to play and people wanted to check it out for themselves. But the problem is, after a couple of hours, everybody was ready to move on, and you saw that. It went from 97,000 the next day, it topped at like 19,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't good enough. And ultimately, though, you had these were the type of tweets that were going viral about the game.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. This game is very, very boring.
Like, look at that. These are some of the top streamers, and you have a random guy just playing a game with them, and he's like, yeah, this is so boring. I'm ready to give up.
Oh, he's gonna leave.
Our random?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna leave?
Bro, I don't know. This game is...
Yo, bro played one game and he's out, dude. Yo. And look, I played Concord. I played Highguard enough, and it has. I think when they made some changes, it got better. But it's quite clear that first impressions matter, and this game did not land at all. Like from the Jeff Keighley announcement, the Game Awards, that already put a little bit of a negative opinion out there, and really just didn't create excitement. I think in the way that they had hoped.
To be fair, I like the ice wall that you get up the ice wall and you can partly destroy it. That I think is really cool. And I think it's kind of the best thing about the game.
Out there,
which is really sad.
Really just didn't create excitement, I think, in the way that they had hoped. Like, we saw some developers really disappointed by that, but that debut trailer really did not sell that this was a completely new experience, at least from a gameplay perspective.
Of course not.
And then we fast forward to launch, and things have just... they've gone how they've gone. And these were some of the, like, this is a more serious take, but this is kind of the one that really, I think, defines the feelings that a lot of us have about Highguard. It's not bad, it's just a boring feature-creeped gimmick that is 10 years late to the party. Even the first match felt repetitive, maps are too big for 3v3, it's practically empty. Environment, art, and animations are well made, truly sorry for all the talented devs who worked on it. Another prime example of how disassociated corporates are from actual players. The only thing that justifies its existence is free-to-play model. It might keep on life support while devs figure out how to completely re-sculpt core gameplay to make it fun. And it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But the developers, they were really trying to fight those Concord comparisons, but they really were sticking. And this was one interview specifically in which they addressed this topic. These are some of the lead devs on the game, and this is what they had to say with people calling Highguard Concord.
Arc Raiders, there's numerous Concords and things like that. What do you think about your game that's going to resonate and be one of the former rather than the latter?
Yeah, I think our game is new and unique. We're seeing people who've actually played the game, and they just can't stop talking about how it's fresh and new and unique, right? There's familiar elements, people that play shooter.
They flew out a bunch of influencers to a massive event in LA, and surprise, surprise, everybody was extremely positive. That's not where you're going to...
Well, yes, of course they are positive. They have to be positive so they don't get blacklisted and shit like that. Because that's how the industry works. If you talk bad about one product, oh my god, you never being invited again. You never get a code for a game again. If that shit wouldn't happen, people would be honest. And then the development of the games would be better. But now we can't have that.
Get genuine criticism or genuine thoughts about the game, and that's quite clear with how all this is
Remember, toxic positivity. That's what this is.
played out, especially with the feelings around 3v3, which that from the get-go should not have been the only mode that this started off with.
Will understand bomb plant, bomb defusal, and shield breaker, trying to rush it to the base and all this, but our game has elements that are nowhere out there, and it's a game loop that doesn't exist, right? That's why we kind of had to come up with a new way to describe it in the raid shooter term. But look, we love making shooters. It's our expertise. We're doing our best to just put all of our passion in this, and we have a track record of making really great shooters. And most of us come from Apex. 60 plus people on this team were the launch team of Apex and Titanfall.
Wow.
Why is that team so big for a new studio that making their first game? Why? It makes zero sense that the team is so big. Especially when we look at the game they made. Why? The game is literally just what people back in the day would put together in their free time as a mod for an existing game. It's not that great at all.
And it was a crowded genre then also. When we launched Apex, we were like the 50th Battle Royale game to come out. And
I still don't like that comparison. We talked about this video beforehand,
same.
but I just hate the fact that they're comparing the gaming industry then, which was like 2019 versus 2026. It is highly competitive.
Yeah.
And especially in this live service arena, a lot of people already have the game that they're going to want to play. And every once in
Yeah, for me, it's Arc Raiders. And even I barely play Arc Raiders. I play Arc Raiders on stream, and that's it. That's it. I'm not playing Arc Raiders for 100 hours per week. I'm not that kind of person anymore. I'm not addicted to gaming anymore. Which is also why I like Arc Raiders so much. You can do shit in the game without being fucking addicted. It's great.
a while, we do have a breakout experience. But I definitely think that Highguard just did not do a good enough job, especially in its marketing, with trying to sell people that this was a different, at least gameplay loop. And ultimately, though, the Highguard team, they did flip the panic button by introducing 5v5. This was about a couple of days after launch, but I mean, if you look at the player base, it already went from 97,000 players within its first few hours just on Steam alone, down to, I think it was around 10,000. And this created a little bit of a bump. And I would assume on the...
I showed earlier, they're at 1,200 now. Literally, right now, 1,200 people are playing the game. The game is dead. And that's why they fired a bunch of people.
other platforms, it was probably similar, maybe a couple of thousand people, but ultimately, though, this is where Highguard is right now, and this isn't sustainable for a live service long term. That is very clear right now. Peaking at 3,800 players. And look, people were getting crapped on for saying that this was probably headed for a Concord-like conclusion, and definitely seems like that's exactly what's about to... that's exactly what is happening here.
Yes.
And yeah, some people really held firm on this, saying, look, it has a lower player base right now, but it can still grow with the coming updates. And the developers even said, we don't need player counts to be super huge in order to be successful. Highguard devs respond to posters declaring it dead on arrival. Internet's gonna internet. And specifically, the quote that was given out was from one of the lead devs. He says, honestly, we don't need player counts to be super huge in order to be successful. We're a small team, a 6-player match. Highguard's max player count at launch is not hard to find.
Then why don't they say how many players they need to be successful? Isn't that interesting? They never say, they always say we don't need massive player amounts, but they also never say what player counts they need to be successful. Isn't that interesting? Just food for thoughts.
really hard. What we're really hoping for is a core group of fans that love us, that will allow us to grow. Being the internet hate machine sucks, but at the same time, I try to just focus on making the best game I can and getting the game into people's hands. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. And yeah, and then to some of the criticism, people were giving internet's gonna internet. If you're gonna be good at live service, you have to listen to the note behind the note. Yeah, there are indications that there's fatigue, that they are confused, that they don't know these things. So it's on us to make sure we respond to that, and we're gonna do that. And that was a couple of weeks ago. Here we stand, and it looks like Highguard is getting ready to be killed soon. It's just a question of when, really, at this point. And if you haven't heard the big news today,
in a different video, I've said about a month that I give the game about a month before it's shut down, and that only because they didn't want to look like a Concord. Yeah, that's what I said, and I still stand for it. And it looks like I'm correct on that one.
this is why I'm like, this almost sounds like an obituary with how I've been talking about Highguard. But yes, a designer claims most of Highguard's dev team have been laid off weeks after launch.
Yeah.
Specifically, this is a level designer, Alex Grainer. He took to LinkedIn saying, unfortunately, along with most of the team at Wildlight, I was laid off today. This one really stings, as there was a lot of unreleased content I was looking forward to that I and others designed for Highguard. However, I'm excited for my next adventure. And yes, he advertised.
Maybe they should have released the content at the start of the game, you know, to give people things to do. But no, it had to be a bare minimum. What would I call that? Incompetence. It's that simple. They're incompetent.
His experience, his talents for a new studio and a new opportunity. And another games journalist, Andy Robinson, did respond further, saying the LinkedIn
level designer. Oh, fuck you. You are bad at what you're doing. Why were the levels so big? Horrible, bad design.
New opportunity. And another games journalist, Andy Robinson, did respond further, saying the LinkedIn claim has now been reposted by multiple other Highguard developers. And furthermore, as of recording, we actually have more Wildlight devs that have spoken out, and they have confirmed that they have been let go. It does look like the entire team, or most of the team, is in fact no longer working on Highguard. This is the concept outsource manager at Wildlight. He posted he's open to work. The previous posting about the team on Highguard being laid off was reposted by the project manager, executive assistant, project manager, lead tech artist, audio director, VFX director, and then furthermore, another developer.
When they are laying off the directors, oh, you know, the game is completely dead.
Took, saying today he was one of the tech artists, saying I was laid off from Wildlight along with most of the staff. It was the best team I had ever worked with. Like I said, I think that this just really exposes the dangers of working in the live service arena, and also bringing something that looks pretty generic to the table. Because I don't care what people say, they can blame it on hate campaigns and whatever they've been saying, because it has been widespread on social media. But this could have been easily avoidable if the executives at the top were actually properly looking at what had transpired the last couple of years. And this doesn't hold true just with Highguard. It's many other live services that have came and gone, and also the ones that are soon to come about. Fair Games from Sony, that looks... Ooh, there was a new Horizon game showed off by Guerrilla Games.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to do, especially with the art direction that they took that. There's just so many questionable ones. Marathon, another one. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the problem is everyone wants to have a live service game. But what they very obviously don't realize is that there aren't enough people out there for all these live service games. There just isn't. There's a finite amount of players that also have a finite amount of time and money. So the average gamer has one live service game. I can guarantee you that. One live service game. And then he plays that. And then other games that aren't live service. Single player games or multiplayer games that aren't live service. people that have a job, they don't have time to play 5 live service games. It's absolutely impossible. Especially when you are expected to log in every day and be active every day. You can play several live service games when that's not the case. You can play Path of 1 and 2 continuously because of the release cycles of those 2 games. You can maybe one other live service game that's kind of not so hardcore. For example, Arc Raiders. And yes, I know I'm glazing Arc Raiders a lot. I'm very aware of that. But the fact is that there aren't enough people for all these live service games. There just aren't. Especially not in the countries where, those companies want to make money in. If they would make money out in Africa, yeah, sure. But Africa doesn't have the money to spend on all these live service games. It's just not feasible. And that's why all these live service games come out and then they completely fail because they number one can't compete with already existing games, and people also don't really have time for that. It's not hard to see that.
But very, very risky. And as a recording, we of course finally have the official statement coming from Wildlight Entertainment, and they aren't confirming a shutdown, but feels like they're delaying the inevitable. They say, today we made an incredibly difficult decision to part ways with a number of our team members while keeping a core group of developers to continue innovating on and supporting the game, although we've already heard that it's most of the team that's gone. And I'm guessing that they're going to try and hope that the content that has been created, they can just iterate, I guess, on that and maybe a player base. It feels like they're delaying the inevitable.
Of course.
We're proud of the team talent and the product we've created together. We're also grateful players who gave the game a shot and those who continue to be a part of our community. I don't see how this doesn't get shut down. Maybe it doesn't get shut down in a week or so, but it's coming. It is. And they're just delaying the inevitable here. And I said that a couple times now, but there just doesn't seem to be a path for Highguard, especially now that they're firing most of their dev team. And I think the key point here that you really need to concentrate is the fact that it sounds like it is being shut down soon. Maybe in the next week or two, maybe in the coming days, maybe hours, honestly. This one really stings as there was a lot of unreleased content I was looking forward to it. And it definitely sounds like we're about to see a statement from them saying that they're shutting it down, everything. Yes. And it really does remind me of this take. This was from another game developer in this industry about a month ago. And I spotlighted this, but it's worth reminding everybody. Spicy and potentially offensive take, Highguard is doomed. Both from a customer and industry perspective, this project doesn't make sense. I met a lot of lovely people from Wildlight. They simply have no live operations plan. They have 61 developers with heart that are making the game.
Wait. They have no live operations plan? How can you not have a live operations plan if you're making a live service game? How dumb is that? Oh my god, this here completely shows incompetence. Because you have to have that. You have to have a plan before you release the game. Oh my god, how can they not have that?
Their dreams and no supporting studios for post-launch content and support. The world is as colorful as it is bereft. There's no investment in the conflict. The characters evince no backstory beyond I have a gun and I'm dropping in, and you're also fighting the baddies. That is probably going to be the worst call-out I've ever seen in a game. We got to go fight the baddies. Oh. Concord without...
That's such... And Asmongold is absolutely right here. Such millennial speak. It's so horrible. It's so lame. It's so bad. It's so little cringe. It's disgusting.
Out even hot sauce. The team needs to go back to the drawing board to find who the target audience is, what those assets and playstyles is for, and how they come to them humbly, not as an assumed W. Spicy take, but I think it really does hold true here. Now, for what it is worth, though, they did have massive plans for this game, and this is, I guess, going to be a lot of unreleased content, but this is what they were saying about the full year of post-launch support, which I honestly thought that they were going to be able to hit on.
Really? Why? Why would you think that? Why? Everyone that's following the industry knows that this was going to go down very, very fast. Very fast. I mean, I gave it a month, and only because they didn't want to be Concord. Remember, Concord, 10 days. And then the servers were shut down. They are already above that. They're at 2 weeks now. And now finally they are laying off people. As expected.
Our favorite things here and there. But I feel like we found a vision and stuck to it and created something that's genuinely new.
We knew when we started we wanted to make a shooter, and we knew we wanted to make something that was live service. And so we've been planning for that for a very long time. In fact, we already have a year's worth of post-launch content already deep in development.
There's a lot of live service fatigue right now, right? These games tend to hit you with a FOMO, which I think players have gotten wise to, for good reason. We're building a game that people want to come back to.
So the way our post-launch plan is broken up is what we call
Yeah, that didn't age well.
episodes. So each episode will be roughly 2 months, broken into two
And
halves.
yeah.
We'll have a part 1 and a part 2. With launch,
And yeah, this was
That was the plan, and it's not coming true.
the plan. They had a lot of content mapped out. As you can see, new wardens, new bases. This Gaming Bolt article points out that, yeah, new wardens, bases, mounts, and surprises. And it's the question of, will we see any of this content release, or is it really going to be like, sorry guys, this didn't work out, we're shutting it all down?
Yeah.
And if you look at the player base size right now of about, well, it looks like 2,200 here, I have to imagine if you add up the other platforms, it's probably less than 10,000, maybe even less than 5,000 if we're being honest here. That's a player count that is just not sustainable, especially for a studio of 60 to 100 developers in total. It's just...
For a free-to-play game, where you have to make money with skins. And those skins don't even look good. Most of them don't look good. And yes, most of them. I think there was 1 or 2 that were kind of nice. But yeah, you don't sell enough skins to pay all your people. And it's not even paying the people. Just running the servers costs so much money. Oh my god. That money alone you don't make with the skins. It's impossible.
It's not surprising. That's why when we hear a lot of criticism for this and a lot of the mockery, it wasn't necessarily like, oh my god, I can't wait for these devs to just be fired. It wasn't that. I think a lot of us genuinely feel sad for these guys, but we all saw the writing on the wall. And there was massive concern, at least from myself, with them pursuing this, and this is the conclusion that a lot of us expected. And yes, people with those perspectives they were simply getting terms thrown at them, saying like, oh my god, you're just a hater, you're just somebody looking for the downfall. No, we've seen this live service arena is brutal, and this happens time and time again. And look, the gaming industry is highly competitive, more so than it's ever been. And these stories of Highguard is nothing new. Like, Highguard, if it had not had that Jeff Keighley spotlight, it probably would have been shut down maybe even a week beforehand.
Yes.
I just don't think that this game really stood a chance. And while it did have a unique gameplay loop, it wasn't something that really... It didn't inspire a lot of interest, obviously, based on that player count and the fact that the players that did check it out did not even choose to return at all. And look, we have articles like this coming around, Aftermath really blaming yourself for why this game is headed where it's headed. Highguard is yet another...
The internet is not decaying. The Western game developer market is decaying. It's developers that are the problem, not the players.
Another symptom and victim of a rapidly decaying internet. And I genuinely think this is just a live service launching into an oversaturated genre at the worst time, as you have Marvel Rivals still being very popular, and then you have Overwatch exploding right now. Just
look at this sentence. What was this generic looking multiplayer game that dared to occupy a slot reserved in viewers' minds for Half-Life 3 or Elder Scrolls 6? How arrogant do you have to be to write a sentence like that? People are waiting for both of these games in parts for decades. I, as a Half-Life fan, I'm waiting for Half-Life 3 for almost 20 years. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, would you think that Highguard would ever had the opportunity to compete with any of these two games? No, of course not. These games, at least this game, will be massive. I don't know about this one because Bethesda, but Half-Life 3, if Half-Life 3 gets announced, I'm getting it. If it silently drops, I'm immediately buying it. I don't even ask questions because it's Half-Life 3. That's how much I trust Valve. But Highguard never had a chance. And it's not because, oh, the gamers are haters. No, it's because the game is mediocre. And the developers thought they had something very, very special, while it was not. It was not. It was mediocre. And people don't want mediocre games. As a live service game, especially. The time you spend in live service games is way too much for it to be mediocre at best. You can't do that. Stop wasting players' times. And that's what Highguard fundamentally is. It's a waste of time. For players. For players, it's a waste of time. For the developers, it's a waste of time, effort, and money.
The worst possible timing, I think. And I said it a couple weeks ago, if they had delayed this out, maybe they would have stood a chance a little bit better if they could really rethink things. But even then, I think we all knew where this was headed. And they say Highguard got hit even harder than it otherwise might have, due to the fact that, at least in games, December constitutes the dead of winter, and they blamed it on, I guess you could say, influencers and YouTubers and people on Twitter, saying that this was the next thing to be cynical about. Opportunistic content creators to monkey bar over to. The Highguard mystery unfortunately lent itself perfectly to SlopTubers' regular stream of videos approach. The problem that I have with this is that it's not just a couple of influencers here and there. There's a massive segment of this gaming industry. A lot of us are wise to this. Yes, I think somebody said that earlier on this video that we talked about. We have seen this play out time and time again, and yes, the logical conclusion is that this is going to be like Concord, and it looks very similar with its art style.
And what we found out, there were developers of Concord that, worked on this game. Who could have guessed?
Then there was the Concord of it all. While comparisons were clumsy, come on, they were clumsy at best. Highguard does not have major published backing. For one, the facts of a situation do not matter in the modern social media landscape, and
we also have to keep in mind that, again, we go for Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders has problems. Burnt Peanut quit the game because of cheaters. But the game still breaks records. They have sold over... I just saw a video. They had a new peak player count of over 1 million people on all platforms together at the same time. The game is just growing. And Nexon, the mother company of Embark, the company that owns Embark, they had their Q1 2026 investor meeting, and wow, they made so much money with Arc Raiders. It's incredible. They made over $200 million with Arc Raiders. And that's just Nexon. That's not Embark. So you can expect that overall Arc Raiders made, I don't know, 300, 400 million so far. And the game keeps growing. It keeps growing. More and more people buy the game every month. In December, they were at 10 million sold copies. In January, they were at 12. And the last thing I heard is 15 million sold copies. They don't stop being successful. Even with their problems of cheaters, and then you have exploiters. But the game is still growing even with these problems. Because the game fundamentally is good. And then we have Highguard. A mediocre game with problems. Do you see a difference? And on top of that, Highguard was for free, while Arc Raiders cost you $40 at least. We all see what's going on here. Good game that costs money to start playing it. Very successful. Even with problems. Free-to-play game that's mediocre. That's free-to-play. Dies. Just like that. Just dies. The problem is not that we streamers and YouTubers hating on the game. Streamers and YouTubers say all the time that Arc Raiders has problems. They say that all the time. They say that they stop playing it because of the problems. But the people still buy the game and play it. Why? Because the game is good. So it's not the influencers, it's not a hate mob or like that. It's just that Highguard is not good enough. It's not. Absolutely not. It should have been 5v5 from the beginning. The game should have looked better. You should have made more interesting character designs. Cut the looting out of the game. And just give the people good weapons from the beginning. The minigame for mining, cut that out. No one cares. It's annoying. And make the reinforcements for the walls actually do something. Implement more game modes like capture the flag, team deathmatch, domination. That all would work in their universe. Make the abilities of the different characters actually interesting and impactful. And yeah, that would have made the game way better. But you didn't do that. And that's why you all lost your fucking jobs. Yeah, rent over.
The writer of this, on an internet ruled by cynics, clip farmers, and rage baiters, and built by those who seek to profit of them, Highguard never stood a chance of having a normal launch. It also would have never had this massive a launch if people weren't talking so much about the game. And then they blame it on right-wing slop tubers have repeatedly harnessed this energy to feed their endless culture wars, claiming that diversity is the reason these games... I've never heard that argument made with this experience especially.
No, the diversity didn't play a role here. I can guarantee you, if there would be a studio Sub-Saharan Africa that makes a game about the guy that united the Zulu tribes. If you make a good game, I don't know, an action game out of that, that's good. No one would fucking care that you are playing a black dude in Africa uniting tribes of black people. No one would give a fuck as long as the game is good and the story is good. I would play that game because I think the story would be so fucking interesting. But why don't we get that? Because I don't know. It's not what you want to show of black people. I don't know. But then we get the stealing back African artifacts from evil white people game. Yeah. Don't give us interesting games. Give us shit. Great. Of course, people don't want to play shit.
Never. More than that, they want them to fail. They approach the prospect with a sort of knives-out glee. All of it fits the narrative that even with the hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, they are a brave little guy speaking truth to power amid an industry of shill-happy journalists and agenda-pushing developers. That is definitely a take.
Well, the developers are pushing agendas. So do you games journalists. I mean, hello? Man, these people are so retarded, it's not even funny anymore.
Especially when there was a massive Los Angeles influencer event with tons of people in this industry, influencers, journalists, and such that all attended and were seemingly super praising the experience. I mean, hell, it wasn't just Polygon. We had a couple of outlets like with these takes, like, oh, it's going to be the next big thing. Definitely doesn't seem like that, and it definitely sounds like this may not even last a month.
The thing is, with every game that's like that, they literally said the same thing about Concord. Oh, this is the next big thing. They say that all the time. And the moment they say that, you know it's not going to be. Because it's always the thing. These people believe they can talk success into existence. Which doesn't work. If you can see the product and it's mediocre, you can't talk success into existence.
On the market, which, yes, this definitely feels like it truly is Concord 2.0. But yes, I am sad to see Highguard with where it's headed right now, and maybe the announcement in the coming hours if I didn't edit it in already. But yeah, it does seem like a shutdown is inevitable, as most of the team has been fired. Just very unfortunate, but the live service arena is brutal, and this is yet another example of it. Anyway, what do you make of Highguard? Did you choose to check it out when you did? You know my feelings on it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, or if you found any informative value. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.
See, if Highguard had female characters that would be attractive like her or her, people might even still play the game. Just for the hot characters. Because we all know, people play bad, even mediocre or even bad games, if the characters are hot. Because some people are literally that horny. But they didn't do that, so they are all now jobless. If you like this video, give it a like. And tell me what you think about the game. Did you know that the game would fail so fast? Or did you even believe that it would not fail? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and if you want to see more, subscribe.